Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. This is Jenny Oya with Nuggets and Things. I so appreciate you today coming in with me just to understand maybe a little bit more, maybe to help me out a little bit. Our land, when it's vacant, is not worth as much as it would be if something occupies that land. Vacant land, let's think about the plot you may have for your garden. When that's just sitting there with nothing on it, it has a semi value, but once you begin to add something on that, you begin to, put something on your land, your garden, once you put your seeds in it and allow it to grow and beautify that land and bring forth whatever the value is to that land, fruits, vegetables, trees, whatever it is, that land appreciates in value. It's the same thing with us. Understanding that sometimes, I think the beginning of Genesis talk about the earth was voided. Just imagine this for a minute. That at one point there was nothing on the earth. It was just land and water, right? And then we begin to occupy this land and change it from what it was to what it is. And the more you put on it, it's supposed to bring the value up on that particular property. Or we talk about earth right now. Well, just think about that in the sense that still, whatever we have here on earth, it only has a moment's value because you can only use it for moments. It's not everlasting. It's not eternal. It's not forever. But, our spiritual vessels, our spirit is forever. It is, just always and truly forever. It just goes on and on and on, right? I was sharing how the thought of my great, 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 great grandmother carried me in her womb. I am a part of her, like she's still a part of me, you know, and understanding that value is very important. 'Cause a lot of people don't understand that. We think that once someone has transitioned out, that they cease to exist, and it's so untrue. They still live through you. You're still a part of your mother, your father, your grandparents, your great great grand. You're still, you still are a part of them. They still live in you, you know? So we should always try to live our best life. But then that gets us to this point. How many times have we had to stop doing something because we said that's impossible or it can't be done? Can't. When there is a passage that says, I can do all things. I can. Why would they say I can when you're saying I can't? What changes? I'm going to tell you. What changes is you can't. There are limitations to you as the earthly being. There's so many things that you cannot do. You have limits. You have boundaries. You have places that you cannot get into because the vessel in which you carry around has limitations. I don't care how bad you want to be there for someone who calls you and tells you that they have an emergency, they want you there right now. I don't care how bad you want to be there, you cannot get there right now. You can't in your natural state, but in your spiritual state, you can be instantaneously, but right there in an instant, because your spirit has no limits, it has no boundaries, and it's no place. It's no thing that's such thing as an impossible to your spirit. Your spirit sees the impossibilities. They defy them, right? And when we understand the value of being spiritual exceeds the value of being natural, we would stay more in tune with our spirit than we would to with our earthly being. But it is so easy to get turned back on to, to the natural state, right? Someone always wants to trouble us with some things that, that would trouble your mind, that would confuse you, sadden you, mhm, anger you, challenge you, taunt you, torment you. But that's all the things can happen to you in your natural state. But in your spiritual state, you're far above that, right? Rising up in the early of a day, rising up and making your intentions known. You know, inhaling, you know, and the breathing exercise a lot of us don't do. When you breathe, you're supposed to, when you inhale, your diaphragm should be going out. So, and when you exhale, your diaphragm should be coming in. But we do it opposite. But that's not the technique of breathing. And when you learn to breathe slowly like that, inhaling, pushing out, exhaling, pushing in, right? And you continue that slows down everything by itself. Just that. Learning how to breathe. When they say stop, slow down, breathe, you know. And when you do that, it does change this thing. Then tuning yourself in, right? Tune yourself into your spirit. Come out your flesh, your natural state, and get tuned in to your spirit. And then you find that you can go anywhere. You can, when you're meditating or you just making your intentions known, what you want to do today. Asking, permission to do the things that you desire. They say, "Would order my steps, direct my path, guide me." The guidance is so important. It is to be guided by those who know where they're going, you know, because with these eyes here, we're limited with these. There are limitations on them. They can only see but so far. Some people say 20/20, 20/40, whatever. But there's still limitations on these natural eyes. This has limitations. But honey, our spiritual eye has no limitations. Can see past the natural state. They're not looking at you. They're looking beyond you, to the inner you, which is the spiritual you. You ever walk into a place or somebody walk by you and you could feel them as they walk by? It is so beautiful. And when you feel them, you feel the familiarity, you feel the relationship, you feel the soul, you feel the spirit. You don't even know who that was just past you, but you felt them. They walked past and right? You felt them. And I'm not talking about, dating thing or a sexual thing, or flirtatious thing. I'm talking about a spiritual moment that you can walk by people and know them only because you just, you feel their spirit moving. They have no idea who you are. And then you can sit in a place and talk to somebody for hours. You inside of a doctor's office or, any place, plane, airport, wherever. You're talking to somebody who, in your natural state, they are a stranger. But in your spiritual state, you know them. And you talk for hours, just continue to talk, and you can laugh with them and talk and just feel so free. It says, who was that you talked to? I have no idea. In the natural state, I don't know who they were. But spiritually, I know that was a part of me. You met a kinship, right? Sometimes you build a friendship. Sometimes it's a relationship, but you just met a kinship, right? Another soul traveling through that just grants you, oh, hey, acknowledges you, kind of goes in line with that passage that says, there's a wide road that, there's so many people on this road, right? But every once in a while on the narrow path, you meet somebody every now and then, you will meet somebody that's on the same road with you. you know, kind of like, trying to get those passages to coming together that you could understand it. And every once in a while, you're sitting somewhere or, in a place and someone starts talking to you and automatically you says, oh, I so know them. And sometimes you'll say, it's like you know me all my life. Oh, I've known you. Isn't it amazing? You know? And what you've known is each other in a spiritual realm, right? Because if you line yourself up with, with the scriptures tells you, I don't know if I was in the spirit when it happens or I was taken out of the spirit. I don't know. Because sometimes it's like that. Sometimes there's a conversation going on and you're like standing there saying, what are they talking about? Right? It's the spirits communicating. It's beautiful, right? And when you learn that you are a spiritual being first, and you learn to use that ability first, it makes your life so much better. It really does. Because things that would normally trouble you, disappoint you, hurt you, when you rise up and you just breathe, give yourself about 5 minutes to breathe. I mean, taking in and pushing out that energy, and then line yourself up by making your intentions known, right? And then after you make your intentions known of what you would desire, where you want to be, and granting, permission to do the things that you would like to do. Because what you want to do has to be the impossible. That's when your spirit is talking, because you're moving in the impossible realm. Because everything that you do that's possible, that's your flesh, that's your natural. But honey, ooh, when your spirit wants to do something, it is impossible. You know how, and you know what I'm talking about. The times in which you do things that somebody go, how'd you do that? That's nearly impossible. It is. If I was in my flesh, my earthly vessel, I wouldn't even tried it. But knowing who I am spiritually, I can do all things. You know, someone can call you from across the seas and say, I need to see you. I need to hear from you. And you say, I'll be right there. You don't jump on an airplane. You don't make some reservation. You just connect to your spirit and you line yourself up and make those intentions known. And you can be there because there's nothing impossible for your spirit to do or to go. And there you are in communication with somebody who needs you right there with them. It's fantastic. And we then learn that you can take something that's vacant and put something on it and see value. And what's vacant is the fact that you're not, in the place you should be spiritually, so you can override your natural being and do things that would, otherwise be impossible. Because you're supposed to be working in the impossible range, which is I can do all things. Nothing is impossible to those who believe. Believe what? You could ask that question, or you could have the answer. Yes, there is a problem, and it could stump you and it could stop you. But if you know who you are and your abilities, that is just a hiccup because you are capable of removing that. It's like removing a stain, you know, taking something from out of a place of visibility to a place of invisibility, right? Find that you can do that, you know, and when you can see past your eye gates, what you naturally see, if you can see past that, then you can go past that, right? When you can hear past that, then you can tune yourself in, to things that you need to know. right? There are so many things that we're capable of doing when we realize that there is nothing impossible when we believe that. And it's not impossible when we're tuned in to our spiritual being. And when we have the host aboard, right? Our host of help, our host of knowledge and wisdom, our host of power. How can you not be any and everywhere and do almost everything? Because you believe that. And when you believe it, you move in that. So don't look at your glass half empty, look at it at half full. Don't see it's almost gone, see it's almost full, right? Because if you can see it almost full, then you know whatever you're doing is adding to it. It's not remaining the same and it's not going down. It's going to get better. It's going to be elevated because you are seeing yourself in a different light. Yes, your body will get tired. Yes, your body will start to, break down and do different things, right? Because your body's saying it's getting older, it's been challenged, whatever. That's your natural body. But your spirit, it doesn't have aches and pains. It doesn't have arthritis. It doesn't have high blood pressure. It doesn't have heart disease. It doesn't have a brain murmur. It doesn't have, ADHD. It doesn't have none of those things because it's healed. It's full. It's complete, and it is perfect. Remember that. So when you're challenged, pull your spirit in it, and then see past the impossibilities and see what's possible for you to do as a spirit being. You can do it. Thank you so much for your time. This is Jenny Oya with Nuggets and Things. You have a fabulous day. Make it awesome. Let your light forever shine. You know who you are. Then be that. Don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. Only you can tell what you can't do. And you can only not do it when you don't realize who you are. Jenny Oya, Nuggets and Things. You have a fabulous day. Thank you. Blessings. Love you.